Hey, welcome to Comic Artist Pro Secrets. I'm Ethan Van Sciver, and we're gonna do one more video about VOX Day in response to him, just because I think this is interesting and kind of instructive, and I think it applies to a lot of people, not just VOX, but this will be the last one. Like I don't want to get into a fight really over this stuff, but I do want to kind of be as helpful as I can. I don't think he's taking this the right way. Right away we can kind of see what he's saying here. The captain is absolutely right. He means Captain Cummings. I definitely care more about SJWs than comic books. So everything basically that I'm complaining about is correct. And the problem is that you are employing people, and people are counting on you to care an awful lot about comic books. So I want you to if you would reconsider that statement, and in fact never say it again. All right, so he complains about Captain Cummings, which is fine. It's more disappointing than anything to see criticism this uninformed and insubstantial, not because it hurts anyone's feelings, but because it is literally useless. However, it is a good sign because it is an indicator that interest in what we're doing is beginning to grow. Of course, yeah. Of course, the insecure professionals will do their usual OMG, LOL, this is so terrible thing. This is a link to my last review, or my only review that I've ever done of his book Quantum Mortis, A Man Disrupted. And yeah, so you can go watch that if you want, while we proceed to demonstrate the total irrelevance of their esoteric expertise. This is a great phrase right here. Esoteric expertise. VOX is a writer. There's no he has a way with words, and that's a fun expression. Insecure professionals, meaning me. Yeah, sure, I'm insecure. My job depends on entertaining people, and it's important to me that I don't become secure and rest on my laurels. I am always worried that my work is measuring up to people's expectations and hopes. They're spending $3, sometimes $4 on about 10-15 minutes of entertainment, and you know, I work my heart out to make sure that it's as good as it can be. So I will remain insecure. I'm not insecure about you, though. I'm not doing this because I'm like, oh my God, VOX is coming and he's going to change the world. If you did change the world, that would be fine, and I would be in your corner. I'd be like, yay, the world's changed thanks to VOX. It makes no difference to me. Okay, I'm fine. This is whiny. This is whining, though. Here we go, more whining. This review is precisely why I pay no attention to the professionals in the comic industry. Their sales are plummeting, that is true. Their channels are dying. Not mine, mine's growing, yeah boy. The industry is hopelessly converged. Their stories are lightweight, superficial, and boring, and they can't successfully develop any interesting new characters. So lightweight, superficial, and boring. I wouldn't say that about every comic. Like that's a big generalization to make. Many are this, but a lot of them are really, really good, and people like them. You got to remember, you're talking about your audience here, and you're not going to be able to bring a brand new audience with you. VOX, you're going to have to try to entertain the audience that currently reads comic books, and you got to take those people seriously and treat them with respect. Okay, and they can't successfully develop any new characters. Wrong. Check out Atrocitus and Justice 2. Again, yeah boy. All right. They're clearly doing something wrong. All right. And yet their first reaction to a first effort that is not only doing something different, but is literally, this is whining. This is VOX. This is whiny. Literally, the #1 new release on Amazon is to smugly denounce it as awful. I'm not smug about it. The SF professionals, I don't know what SF stands for, please enlighten me, reacted exactly the same way when they smugly denounced the awfulness of my vanity publishing house 3 years ago. It's going to be amusing to watch Ethan's videos on the subject 1 year from now. Well, no, my videos 1 year from now will be as valid as they are today about what you've done to this point and your attitudes. They will mean the exact same thing. Now, if you change, if your books improve and your attitude changes, then my videos will be representative of the way you were before, and it'll be nice to see that you've grown in contrast to my very fair and accurate, honest, fair, and negative review of your stuff. Or rather to observe when he abruptly falls silent, just like the file 770 and the SFSJWs have. See, this is, again, whiny. I'm not your enemy. I'm not your enemy. I'm not just out here to see you fail because I disagree with your politics. I agree probably with some of your politics. Regardless of that, I would like you, as someone who seems to have a whole lot of capital and some interest, and you're employing some of my friends, I'd like to see you succeed. And I will fall silent right away, like right now. After this video is over, I am going to fall silent, and I will start talking again when you become excellent. Then I'll praise you. I'm not at all upset by Ethan's honest, fair, thank you, and very negative, unfortunately, yes, review of QM AMD #1. That's what I mean. Like that's a lot of letters to. Quite to the contrary, I'm extremely pleased by it. Here comes passive aggressive. Here's why. It confirms that what we're doing is taking a fundamentally different approach to comic book storytelling than the standard presently being utilized by the industry as a whole. That suggests that we will either fail completely or we will succeed well beyond anyone's expectations. And the initial response is a very early sign of the latter. Okay. Good luck. So, stick to drawing, Ethan. I will. And leave the storytelling to the real writers instead of the cheap wannabes in your industry. VOX, it's your industry now, too. You just raised $250,000 from people who credulously gave it to you so that you could work and become a business, a small business within this industry. This is your industry, too. Calling other writers cheap wannabes is not a good thing to do, not a good start. I can tell that you know nothing about how to tell an absorbing story that will hold a reader's interest over time. It's just one facepalm after another. All right, so now I'm not talking to Vox. I'm talking to you guys who are listening. This attitude that he is demonstrating here, this is not the attitude to take in response to criticism. When somebody looks at your book and says, this isn't good, it's not because you're doing something revolutionary that nobody understands. If you want to be avant-garde in comics, go ahead, but don't pretend that you're doing science fiction. He's trying to do a science fiction book, and there are rules for storytelling, and there are rules about how to tell a story within a comic book that will maintain a reader's attention and interest. There are rules. You have 22 pages. I only have 20, but you have 22 pages. And each book, even though it's going to be part of a larger story arc with 3 arcs, should still, within that one little issue, you should still try to do a 3-act play. So if you're going to do 6 issues, you're looking at about 6 3-act little mini plays, so that anybody who picks up a book can actually just read that on its own. And that's enough. That's enough. Just that one story. But you want to create a nice cliffhanger ending that'll bring them back for the next. This is serialized storytelling. It's as old as time. It's as old as Charles Dickens. Something has to happen in each issue. If people are telling you that the book isn't working, the answer isn't to condemn everyone and say what the entire history of comic book storytelling is small-minded and wrong and I'm doing something epic. You might just be being silly at that point, and you might want to just listen. And by the way, you don't have to listen to me. You've hired Chuck Dixon. Chuck Dixon's going to tell you the same thing. He's going to tell you the same stuff. And Chuck is not a cheap wannabe in my industry. Chuck is a skilled, experienced professional, and he's going to tell you the same kinds of things. He's going to tell you better than me, though, because he's got a way with words. I love Chuck. We'll finish this up. The fact that you genuinely think nothing happened in issue 1 and can't understand the significance of the history page simply demonstrates the extreme superficiality of your perspective. I note that you are confusing the utilization of action to grab the short-lived attention of the attention deficit disorder. This is your audience. You're not making fun of me here. You're making fun of your audience that you're trying to win. ADD disorder reader with genuine storytelling. It's not. The two are not synonymous. Only the inferior storyteller needs to rely on cheap pyrotechnics to hold his reader's attention. In my opinion, that stupid show don't tell philosophy is part of why comics are dying. That is 100% nonsense. Horse pucky. I almost said a curse word, but this is a family channel. I was particularly amused by the idea expressed by some of mine commentators that Quantum Mortis is some sort of Blade Runner ripoff. It's not. It can't be. I've never even seen any of the Blade Runner movies. I saw them recently, VOX, honestly. I didn't see them in the 80s. I saw them when they put them out in DVD, and I thought they sucked. So you're not missing anything. And the books have literally nothing in common to do with the Philip K. Dick novel on which the movies were based. For F's sake, anyone who knows anything about me knows that Quantum Mortis is Traveler. That's very interesting. So, okay. I mean, like I said, I'll be quiet now. I want to just say, I wish you well. Three things now. One, you gotta learn to take criticism. You're not a genius. I'm sorry. Two, you're a good writer though. I do like your essays. But when it comes to let's just admit one thing. I won't even talk about anything else. You're not a comic book storytelling genius. You don't like comic books. You've never done it. So listen up. Two, stop separating yourself from this industry the way that you're doing. Stop saying you don't care about comic books the way you care about your politics. Stop saying that this is my industry and belittling it. If you want to play in this playground, start taking it seriously if you want to succeed. You're not going to succeed with arrogance. I promise you. And number three, please look into solicitation and distribution with Diamond, just so that, when this is a huge success, when I've been silenced, and when you've shown everyone, people that you could be kind to and be concerned with are the retailers, because they never said this book sucked. They don't really care. They just want to sell it. And, so those three things. Everyone listening, you can't be like this, okay? You can't. You gotta just take criticism. Take it with humility. I had to do it too. When I first started out with my first book, it sucked. It was so precious to me. I loved the industry, though. I didn't belittle it. I thought the fans were wonderful. I was hoping they would like my stuff as much as I liked them, and they didn't. And that hurt my feelings, but I opened my ears and I listened to the pros around me. I listened to the fans that I met at conventions, and I took their advice and their feedback to heart. And I grew a lot over the course of my career. So it's not, humbly listen to criticism and take it to heart and grow. And just remember, you're never going to be where you need to be. You're always going to have room to grow. Always. So, stay insecure. Thanks, guys. Bye.